Welcome to Ask Between the Keyframes on Motionographer. Hey, Austin.
What's up, Erin?
Well, today we have a question from Eric Larson.
Sweet.
I'll read it for you. He wants to know, how deep do you dive on pitches before winning a project? And does that depth change depending on the project? So I'll speak to it from a studio perspective. That varies. So yeah, it does. The depth does change. I mean, sometimes we're given a couple weeks for a pitch. Sometimes we're given a couple days. Sometimes one day. So if it's a really short turnaround time, typically we do a little mini treatment, something that just has maybe a couple style frames in it, but a bit of writing, some reference, things like that. Basically just doing what it takes to communicate how you would approach the job. So that's for a short turn. For something that's a longer turn, and something we're very aggressive about wanting for the studio, we would probably do boards, maybe some motion tests. It's all the rage now to do a full motion video presentation. Most of the time, these are unpaid pitches. I think it's fair to communicate that to the world. So if a studio is booking you or somebody's booking you, that is a cost that's part of overhead. That's not a cost that's associated to the job. If the job awards, you try and build it into the job so that you're covered for it. I know you have done things, and we've done it too, where maybe you do a couple style frames and then you do a hand-drawn board to show if it's more narrative driven or storytelling. Now, I think every studio has a style all their own for how they do like to pitch. I think for us, having a point of view is very important. So maybe having less ideas but going deeper on them is how we like to approach things. Some studios, I believe, go the scatter approach, where they take whatever artist's available, they give them the brief, and then they take everything they get back, put it in a really long deck, and present that. And that can be very effective because it might be like a 100-page deck or something really long and deep. You know, the client might just be like, that thing on page 57, I got to have that, build that out into my piece. And that can be an effective way to go. But I think I've learned over the years that I'd rather have a stronger point of view and to have a real understanding of how we're going to actually make the piece and go a little bit more into narrative than just showing stunning, beautiful imagery.
I mean, also just that idea that concept, right? Concept is king. Style.
Yeah.
You don't want to do style over substance, right? I mean,
Sure.
You want it to look good, but it needs to serve the brief ultimately.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. So what about for you? What do you think?
Well, yeah, my short answer would be yes. It definitely changes depending on the project, on the scope, on how quickly we would need to turn around those frames. If you only have a day, it's okay, it's a style frame. If you got a week, okay, now I can maybe build out a full board. Something that students ask often as I'm assigning them and introducing them to motion design and the designing for motion process is, well, how many style frames do I need to make? Right. And then I'm always like, well, that depends, right? It's and that's the same with studios. It's well, it's whatever it takes to win that job, right? And if it's, and I've worked on projects where it's we need to board out every moment, right? And then there's other ones it's a bit looser. We can just do some incredible look frames and kind of speak to those, and that's enough. So it's always no two pitches are ever the same. Right, which makes it a kind of it makes it kind of fun. I mean, the process is somewhat the same, right? Okay, we're coming up with an idea and we're giving it a look, but what that actual outcome and how we put it all together, that varies, and it's I think it's kind of fun about motion design. Yeah.
Oh, I do too. I think it's such a fun process. That always gets me when an artist asks, how many frames do I need? And it's just well, I need to understand your idea. And the client needs to understand your idea. So that might be done in one frame.
Right. Maybe you got to board out all those transitions, or maybe you just board out one or two that suggests this is the style of how we imagine the changes happening throughout.
Exactly. Well, I think that's a really great answer.
Right on. I was going to thank
Eric's
you.
Question.
Why, thank you.